All right, as promised, we'll talk about cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is used when the frame naturally occurs in blocks, sometimes literal city blocks. Randomly select blocks, then sample all individuals in each block. So you might do that. You might have identified some urban or rural areas. You want to make sure you get your opinions from, say, a rural area, and you might have a number of, say, rural areas that you've selected, and you're going to randomly select then some of them to go and sample. And then in order to save money or save travel expenses, instead of just randomly selecting people from all over the place and having to travel to thousands of different communities, you might randomly select a few communities and then, or a few representative areas, and then interview all the people in those areas. So one way to do that is by city blocks. So if you wanted to, say, find out the opinions of people in Manhattan and New York City on Manhattan Island, you might randomly select 10 blocks from Manhattan Island and then interview all the people there. Of course, they're in skyscrapers, so that'd be lots of people. That'd be a problem. But maybe you could do that in Pueblo. You could say, take Belmont, and you want to get opinions of people from Belmont. Find some city blocks in Belmont, randomly select a few of them, interview all the people, just go down around the corner, around the street, try to interview all the people, and that way you get an opinion. So here we've got, we're trying to select 10 locations from a list of 265 locations. Of course, the way to do that, we use the table. And then we have to randomly select a starting place. So I did. I selected the spot here where 591 is. We have 265. It says 265 blocks. So I'm going to be looking for 001 through 265. So I have to use the same number of digits as the number of blocks. And then I'm going to be looking for the number 001 through 265. And I've done it on my computer in advance, but I better double check it because sometimes I screw up. How many do you want? You want 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 10 here. So now just make sure they're all between 1 and 265. I didn't skip any. 1 to 265. Oh, are there any up here? I think we're okay. And then the selected blocks then are 22, 54, now I'm hunting, 54 is here, 176, 170, I see 179, that's that one. Here's 176, 184, there you go, 184, 186, down here I saw it already, 206, where are you, 206? There it is, 206 is there. 246, there it is, 259, early one, and the 260, the late one. So yeah, so cluster sampling is a sampling technique, but the way we use the tables is very similar with all these sampling techniques. Once you've got down to the situation where you need to randomly sample from a list, you number the list from 1 to up, however long the list is. You use the number of digits and that number that represents the length of the list in the tables. And then you hunt for your sample by looking for the numbers from 1 up to that number in the random number table, starting at a random place until you've collected your full sample. And if you have to keep going, you keep going. We might have had to keep going to a couple more rows, a couple more columns here, and so on. With large samples, people tend to do the sampling process by asking the computer to select the random numbers for them. But for our purposes, just so you see how random selection could work with random numbers, we're doing it using these tables. And that would be the end of my sampling, my foray into sampling. And this is how you would collect information for doing observational studies. Once you knew who the folks were you wanted to, or the objects were you wanted to examine, then you'd use one of these techniques to collect your sample. And there we go. And I'm stopping my recording.